Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 568 based on novel. So let's start. I have only gone to Cloud Wave continent, the Kangyang continent and the Peaceful Soul continent. This is only about half of the entire eastern continent. Within these three continents, there are no thunder veins. I really don't know the answer to your question. But I can help you inquire about it. Perhaps someone in the Great Soul sect knows. After all, the Great Soul sect is one of the 9 sects and 13 factions. Their disciples go out to test themselves and often tells the sect about things they find. This is part of their training. Du Qing shook his head. The immortal astral continent was endless, and few people had been across the entire eastern continent. Du Qing had gone to a total of 4 continents in his life, and that was already extraordinary. Wang Lin nodded and pondered. A moment later, he looked at Du Qing and seemed to speak very casually. Where is the Donglin sect? Donglin sect? Du Qing's expression suddenly froze. After pondering a bit, he began to speak. The Donglin sect is one of the 9 sects and 13 factions. It is in the northern part of the eastern continent in the Great Sage continent. Rumor has it that this sect is very mysterious and few disciples ever come out. Wang Lin asked a few more questions and then revealed a tired look. Du Qing was as cunning as a devil, so how could he not realize Wang Lin's intent? He quickly got up to leave, and before he left an oath. Fellow cultivator, rest assured. This old man will launch the entire sect to find the earth fire vein. If it can be extracted, I'll let the disciples bring them back to fellow cultivator. After Du Qing left, he immediately issued several decrees as he promised Wang Lin. The 3 elders each led a group of Blue Dragon sect disciples out in 3 different directions. There was also the elder that had been turned to wood and sealed as a punishment. Du Qing released him and gave him the chance to pay for his sins. He was sent off to search for a child vein. Wang Lin sat by himself inside the rather luxurious cave, and the light from the night pearls shined on him. It looked like he was surrounded by fog and looked unreal. He was still pondering and Du Qing's words were echoing in his mind. I need to form a true essence body for my thunder essence as well. I can't put all my hopes into the Donglin pool. After all, there may be some exaggeration in Su Dao's memories. If I want to form my thunder essence true body, I will need a large amount of thunder. Since the immortal astral continent has earth fire essence, there must be thunder essence. However, right now the priority is to form my fire essence true body. I might have to personally take a trip to the Great Soul sect. Wang Lin frowned. To him, the Great Soul sect was a behemoth that was difficult to shake. Du Qing said that the Great Soul sect's old ancestors' cultivation is unfathomable and that he has also formed an essence true body. Wang Lin rubbed his temples and sighed. My cultivation level is not high enough. However, it's not like I don't have any methods. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he thought of the Guiyi sect. After all, that old man named Ma knew of his connection with Xian Luo. Soon, Wang Lin gave up the idea of searching for the Guiyi sect for help. There were too many unknown factors, and he didn't like using another's name to make others do things. I must rely on myself. Although it is difficult, if I can use spatial bending on the immortal astral continent, then it shouldn't be impossible. Wang Lin closed his eyes and no longer thought about his essence true body. He slowly began to look for ways to integrate with the world. This spell was very important for Wang Lin's actions in the future. Once he reobtained it, his chances would increase. As his divine sense scattered, it slowly spread out from the cave and shrouded the world, but no matter how much Wang Lin tried, he couldn't fuse with the world. At most, he could integrate a sliver. This sliver wasn't enough for him to move far away, it could only teleport a short distance. This was not what Wang Lin wanted. There seemed to be an invisible barrier preventing him from entering. This was the law of the immortal astral continent and a pressure. With this pressure, a person's divine sense would find it difficult to squeeze in. This was not like the cave world, where there was no invisible barrier or pressure. Any cultivator who had comprehended spatial bending can fuse with the world to move. But thanks to this pressure, he couldn't fuse with the world and use spatial bending. Wang Lin vaguely understood this pressure was not just affecting against him, but it was like this across the entire immortal astral continent. That's why even with Du Qing's cultivation level, he couldn't do it. Perhaps only after my cultivation has reached a certain level can I force my way in and move like that. A few days later, Wang Lin had tried many times but was still not successful. But he didn't give up. Wang Lin's personality had always been like this. The more difficult it was, the more determined he became. His divine sense kept changing inside the Blue Dragon sect as he attempted to squeeze in. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 1 month went by. Wang Lin was in closed-door cultivated during this whole month, but the movement of his divine sense made it so the disciples of the Blue Dragon sect didn't dare to get close to the back mountain. Du Qing was still in the Blue Dragon sect. When Wang Lin spread out his divine sense for the first time, Du Qing was aware of it. However, he couldn't figure out what Wang Lin wanted to do. After several days of observation, he suddenly understood Wang Lin's intent. He is trying to fuse his divine sense with the world and then move by fusing with the world. This is simply impossible. Teleportation can be done, but this method is obviously used to travel far further than teleportation. Only those old monsters at the peak of Void Turbulent who understand a lot about the lore of the immortal astral continent and have the strength to resist the pressure can do it. Du Qing shook his head and slowly stopped observing Wang Lin's actions. After 1 month of time, the disciples of the Blue Dragon sect hadn't managed to find an earth-fire vein outside the scope of Wang Lin's divine sense. Not even the 4 elders could do this. They were still widening their search. Wang Lin had forgotten the passage of time. He continued to try to fuse his divine sense with the world. He didn't seem to ever become tired as he continued to try. If he failed once, he would try twice. If he failed twice, he would try 10 times. Another 3 months passed. Wang Lin couldn't even remember how many times he had tried, but the result was still the same. After 4 months of time, some disciples of the Blue Dragon sect had found some fire veins that hadn't withered, but even more disciples were still searching. Wang Lin still kept trying. He had to continue figuring out spatial bending, otherwise, the rest of his plans would be difficult to complete. Du Qing had become used to Wang Lin's divine sense surrounding the Blue Dragon sect. He looked at Wang Lin trying countless times, unwilling to give up, and felt disdain in his heart. However, he would never show it, but the disdain in his heart was becoming stronger and stronger. This is simply impossible. This person is too stubborn. This is just a waste of time. If fusing with the world is so simple, then anyone could do it. His cultivation level is clearly not high enough, but he keeps trying. I don't know how he caught the eye of a Grand Empyrean. Foolish. Du Qing shook his head. In a flash, 3 more months passed. Wang Lin had spent 7 months in closed-door cultivator studying this spell. He was sitting there with his eyes bloodshot and there was irritation in his divine sense. Du Qing saw this and sneered. I don't know if I should tell him that he is overestimating himself. Although he has caught the attention of a Grand Empyrean, has many treasures, and his beast is extraordinary, his current actions are him overestimating himself. I want to see how long he plans to try. When he still fails in the end, what kind of expression will he make? There was a hint of contempt in Du Qing's eyes, but there was also jealousy. How come I, Du Qing, was not accepted by a Grand Empyrean? Do Grand Empyreans all like fools like this? Du Qing was unconvinced. During the past 7 months, Wang Lin's seemingly stupid actions slowly changed Du Qing's mind. He felt like Wang Lin's mind had some problems. Inside the cave, the bloodlines in Wang Lin's eyes became even more numerous. After 7 months of time of spreading out his divine sense, even he found it almost unbearable, but he didn't give up. Although he was still trying to fuse with the world, he was forcing himself now. To be more precise, he was using this method to stir his avatar that was growing inside the stone shell in the void. After trying it for several days, Wang Lin understood that with his cultivation level, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't shake off this pressure from the world. However, he still had a last resort, which was the avatar growing in the void. This avatar was born within the law of the immortal astral continent and could even be said to be part of the law. So whether his divine sense could integrate with the world depended on the avatar. However, Wang Lin could feel that his avatar was asleep and couldn't be awakened without some special method. That's why, during these 7 months, Wang Lin had continued to spread out his divine sense until he became tired and his origin soul even showed signs of withering. On the last day of the 7th month, Wang Lin's origin soul showed signs of withering due to not having a chance to recover for 7 months. Just at this moment, his eyes released a bright light. Somewhere in the void between the cave world and the immortal astral continent, there was a huge, stone shell floating there. Inside sat Wang Lin's sleeping avatar, and at this moment, the avatar suddenly opened his eyes. The moment the avatar opened his eyes, Du Qing was waiting with disdain to see Wang Lin making a fool of himself when his expression suddenly changed. He revealed the horror he had shown 7 months ago. He suddenly stood up and was completely dumbfounded. What he saw made him forget how to breathe. This is impossible. Cold sweat appeared on Du Qing's forehead as he looked toward the cave in the back mountain. Wang Lin's divine sense that had been around for 7 months suddenly disappeared. This disappearance wasn't Wang Lin withdrawing his divine sense, it had disappeared without a trace, as if he had merged with the world. This change was too sudden. Du Qing couldn't imagine it happening and wasn't prepared at all. He was in the mindset of watching a joke when it suddenly happened. After a moment of shock, Du Qing rushed out and his divine sense spread out toward the back mountain. When his divine sense swept by, his body trembled violently. Not there. Not there, Wang Lin, who had been sitting inside the cave for 7 months, had disappeared. Du Qing didn't notice Wang Lin disappearing at all. It was as if Wang Lin had evaporated before him. It's impossible. It doesn't make sense. Du Qing stood on the mountain peak of the back mountain with grass under his feet. His expression was dull as he muttered. He rubbed his eyes and spread out his divine sense once more. He tried again, and again, but he didn't find a trace of Wang Lin. Impossible, his divine sense can't fuse with the world. This kind of thing has never happened before. Only old monsters at the peak of Void Tribulum can do it. He simply can't. Du Qing's face was pale and the fear in his eyes was strong. He suddenly felt like he was in a dream for the last 7 months. Du Qing still couldn't find Wang Lin, and his heart was unable to accept it when a calm voice echoed behind him. Are you looking for me? Du Qing's body trembled and he suddenly turned around. His pupils shrank when he saw Wang Lin calmly standing behind him and looking perfectly normal. There seemed to be some ripples flowing behind Wang Lin, but they soon disappeared. Du Qing subconsciously retreated a few steps. Wang Lin's appearance was too sudden, and he hadn't noticed it at all. If Wang Lin had attacked, he would have been seriously injured. A sense of coldness seemed to come from Wang Lin's body. This cold aura dissipated as the aura of the Blue Dragon sect washed over Wang Lin, but Du Qing still felt like a gust of cold wind had blown on his face. The shock and horror in his eyes turned into fear. At this moment, Wang Lin turned infinitely more mysterious and terrifying in Du Qing's eyes. Du Qing suppressed the shock in his heart and calmly said, "Nothing. Most of the disciples have returned, and they have found a lot of sub-veins and child veins. Some sealed veins were also brought back." Wang Lin casually looked at Du Qing. Under his gaze, Du Qing subconsciously lowered his head. "Bring them to the cave," Wang Lin said slowly as he stepped forward and flew back to the cave. Only after Wang Lin left did Du Qing relax. However, because Wang Lin had flown back, doubt appeared in his heart once more. Absolutely impossible. He shouldn't have merged with the world, otherwise, he would have left in a flash. His aura disappeared before, so he must have teleported. Yes, he must have teleported. After failing so much, he must have done this to save face. The more Du Qing thought, the more correct he felt. He even felt funny how he was just scaring himself earlier. I already said that he could not fuse with the world. He can't do it at all. He's really overestimating himself. Du Qing sneered and waved his sleeves to leave. However, his body suddenly trembled and his eyes stared at the grass where Wang Lin was. His eyes almost popped out and a monstrous sense of fear surged in his heart. His mind rumbled as if countless bolts of thunder had exploded in his mind. Everything before him disappeared, only the area where Wang Lin stood remained. After a long time, Du Qing's face turned white and he subconsciously retreated a few steps. He looked back at the cave with a fearful and complicated gaze. Not far away, there was some green snow on the grass where Wang Lin had stood. It glistened in the sun and slowly melted. In the entire Heavenly Bull continent, green snow only existed in the Heavenly Mountain to the extreme west. Even if Du Qing flew at full speed, he would need several months to fly back and forth. Snow of the Heavenly Mountain. This person is a heavenly genius. Du Qing stood there silently for a long time before muttering this one line. At this moment, the disdain and contempt he felt for Wang Lin for the past 7 months disappeared. It was replaced with a sense of mystery and uncertainty. A sense of fear toward Wang Lin grew inside him. This had nothing to do with cultivation but the mystery surrounding Wang Lin. In the cave, Wang Lin patted his clothes, dusted off the coldness on him, and sat down. After 7 months, he had finally awakened his avatar in the void. The moment the avatar awakened, Wang Lin felt an indescribable sense of understanding come from the distant void. The invisible barrier that had been troubling him suddenly loosened. It was as if the law of the immortal astral continent that was stopping him had disappeared. All kinds of enlightenment appeared in his mind. It felt clear, but thinking about it clearly now, it was very vague. Wang Lin knew that this was because that avatar was still growing. Once the avatar finished growing, Wang Lin would clearly comprehend everything about the law of the immortal astral continent. At the same time, the powerful pressure suddenly melted like ice. Countless cracks seemed to appear and Wang Lin's divine sense immediately merged with the world rather than trying to squeeze in by force. All of this was because of his avatar. The moment his divine sense merged with the world, his body disappeared and merged with the world. At this moment, he felt the same feeling as when he used spatial bending in the cave world. He had lost this feeling for a long time. With a thought, he appeared on the heavenly mountain on this continent and saw the falling green snow. The first spatial bending Wang Lin had used here was without direction, and he had just casually gone anywhere. But when he returned to the Blue Dragon sect, the image of the Blue Dragon sect clearly appeared in his mind. He appeared in the back mountain of the Blue Dragon sect behind Du Qing. It only took half an incense stick of time for him to come and go. If not for the green snow that was on his feet, not even Du Qing would have known where Wang Lin had gone. The avatar has only grown for these few days and it has already brought such a powerful boost. If there is more time, my avatar will become the strongest body. Wang Lin had long understood this in his heart. It is time to go to the Great Soul Sect to absorb the main Earth Fire Vein. Before that, I need to absorb the rest of the child veins to see how much of the Fire Essence true body I can form. Wang Lin knew that the more complete it was, the more difficult it would become. To form the head, he didn't just need Fire Essence. The thing he needed the most was Will of Fire. Du Qing came to greet him half an hour later with some of the Earth Fire Veins that the disciples had exacted, along with a map. This was a complete map of the Heavenly Bull continent, and it had the child veins marked on them. Wang Lin didn't pretend to be polite, he absorbed those Earth Fire Veins. However, there wasn't much Will of Fire inside them, so they didn't help the formation of his Fire Essence true body much. However, the map was very useful to Wang Lin. After taking the jade, Wang Lin said goodbye to Du Qing. Du Qing knew what Wang Lin was going to do. He could not participate in this matter, but he also wouldn't report Wang Lin. After all, he still wanted to get into Wang Lin's graces. More importantly, the gaze Wang Lin had given him before leaving was extremely calm. Ripples echoed under Wang Lin's feet and he suddenly disappeared. This scene was more shocking than any threat. Du Qing's heart trembled as he watched Wang Lin disappear, and after a long time, he let out a sigh. I'll remember how fellow cultivator Du helped me. If there is a chance, I'll repay you. After Wang Lin left, his words echoed in Du Qing's ears. On the 7th day after Wang Lin left, the child Earth fire veins across the Heavenly Bull continent collapsed and a burst of fire surged across the Heavenly Bull continent. Even the air felt hot, and just breathing it would make one feel irritable. As this happened in many locations across the Heavenly Bull continent, it caught the attention of the various sects. They sent out large numbers of disciples, and sometimes elders personally went to see, but they found no clues. By the time they get there, all they saw were the withered veins. Half a month later, at a mountain surrounded by black fog, where a sect called the Seven Tao sect used to be located, Wang Lin walked out of the mountain looking emotional. He had to come here. Here, he could feel the aura of the cave world and Xian Luo's years of waiting. Wang Lin walked out from the black fog and looked back at the mountain within. He pondered for a moment before letting out a sigh and leaving. Sichu, Qing Shui, Li Qianmai, and all those that have reincarnated. Where are you all now? Wang Lin turned to leave, and his back gave off a sense of loneliness. After one day, on the eastern part of the Heavenly Bull continent, at the Heavenly Mountain where the Great Soul sect was located, a white-haired youth stood on top of the sky as the green snow fell. He could see the other side of the mountain through the falling snow. Standing here, the youth could vaguely see the endless mountain range, and within the mountain range, a red mountain pierced through the clouds far away. Great Soul sect, the white-haired youth muttered, his eyes shining brightly. The Great Soul sect was located within the mountain range with the mountain that pierced the clouds. It gave off a red light and looked like a burning mountain. There were ripples echoing around the mountain. The ripples seemed to contain soul force, and countless hidden figures seemed to be letting out silent roars inside. This place was one of the two strongest sects on the Heavenly Bull continent, the Great Soul sect. Green snow fell on the Heavenly Mountain. The snow fell on Wang Lin's body, hair, and the ground. He stood motionless in the snow. From here, the Great Soul sect didn't seem very far, but even if one flew, they'd have to fly for a few days. The reason it felt like this, aside from the mountain, was that the ripples that came from the Great Soul sect created a visual gap. After a long time, Wang Lin closed his eyes and his divine sense spread out. He vaguely sensed the main fire vein under the Great Soul sect. It branched out into countless branches that spread throughout the Heavenly Bull continent. There was an amazing will of fire in this main vein. This will wouldn't allow anyone to invade it, and only at the Great Soul sect did this will weaken greatly. The main vein poked out from underground at the Great Soul sect. Rather than the Great Soul sect, it could be said the mountain was the main earth fire vein that extended above ground. This was not man-made, it had been formed by the evolution of nature. It could only be said that the Great Soul sect had picked a very clever location. There was a powerful surge of vitality inside the Great Soul sect. With a rough sweep, Wang Lin found no less than 100,000 cultivators within this endless mountain range. 100,000 cultivators was a large number, but hidden within the mountain ranges, there was not a trace to be seen. There were many extremely powerful essence auras within the mountain ranges. These represented third-step cultivators. The Great Soul sect of the immortal astral continent. It is indeed very strong. Just one sect can sweep the cave world. Wang Lin calmly looked at this as he pondered. If not for the fire essence true body, Wang Lin wouldn't provoke such a behemoth. However, the main earth fire vein under the Great Soul sect was simply too important to Wang Lin. Even if he had to pull the teeth out from a tiger's mouth, he had to try. During these days, he had absorbed a lot of child veins. The fire essence in his body had reached a limit and would no longer be affected by the child veins. He was already prepared for this to happen. After all, this was similar to taking pills. The more pills of the same quality you devoured, the less effect it would have until it became useless. Unless he could devour even higher quality pills, like the will of this main earth fire vein. Wang Lin slightly closed his eyes and his body silently floated forward without a sound toward the Great Soul sect. As he walked, his body flickered. He moved forward a large distance as if he was teleporting. After several hours, Wang Lin walked through the path that would take cultivators several days and arrived at the mountain range where the Great Soul sect was. Here, the fluctuations of the soul power became even stronger and more dense. There were forces hidden here that prevented Wang Lin from entering. Unfortunately, I can't take out the ghostly sail from the storage space, otherwise, I might have been able to borrow its power to enter the Great Soul Sect. Wang Lin stopped and looked at the mountains not far away. He looked at the red mountain and let out a sigh. His aura had been completely hidden and he now looked like a mortal. After sitting down, he closed his eyes and began to wait. The moment he sat down, his body became blurry and turned into a strand of smoke that floated there. A sect like the Great Soul Sect had a very powerful formation around their territory. Anyone who wasn't their disciple would immediately be noticed once they touched the formation. If he wanted to go in, he would have to wait for a disciple to go through and cause a fluctuation in the formation. If it was an ordinary disciple, he would choose to integrate into the body of a Great Soul Sect disciple to enter, but that had its own drawbacks. Although it sounds good, the fact that the Great Soul Sect had the word soul in their sect name meant that they had a great understanding of the soul. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to create the multi-layered illusion spell. Therefore, entering the body of a disciple to enter the formation would likely result in Wang Lin being found out by the formation before he even noticed anything was wrong. Wang Lin could only try to enter once, and he was unwilling to risk it like that. He preferred to believe in his own cultivation and understanding of restrictions. What he needed was for fluctuation to appear in the formation. In a flash, 3 days passed. During these 3 days, a total of 314 disciples had gone in and out, and the formation had fluctuated 314 times. Wang Lin didn't carelessly move, he continued to observe. He used his understanding of restrictions to find a weak point. After all, Wang Lin had the rare restriction essence. He was not anxious. He had enough time and patience to calmly observe. Another 7 days passed. During these 7 days, the formation rippled almost 1,000 times as the disciples went in and out. Wang Lin slowly noticed that the fluctuations were different depending on the identity of the disciples. During these 10 days of time, Wang Lin had seen almost 1,000 different Great Soul Sect disciples. He had observed some changes to their bodies unique to the Great Soul Sect. For example, their souls. If every Great Soul Sect disciple's soul was a flame, then the flame was very strong and wouldn't easily fluctuate. During these 10 days, Wang Lin still hadn't done anything. He continued to observe for another 10 days. On this day, as a Great Soul Sect disciple entered the formation, the smoke Wang Lin had turned into rushed out. This smoke was invisible and immediately appeared next to the disciple's body. The formation rippled as the disciple entered and Wang Lin entered at the same moment. The moment Wang Lin entered, his restriction essence appeared to offset the formation. Then he rapidly simulated what he had learned from observing for the past 20 days. During a few short breaths, he changed hundreds of times. Only when the disciple left the formation and flew away without noticing a thing did the smoke Wang Lin had turned into also come out of the formation. His entrance didn't cause any change to the formation, or to be more accurate, all the changes were hidden by the ripples triggered by that disciple entering. The smoke Wang Lin had turned into silently moved through the mountains. He saw a lot of Great Soul Sect disciples. They all rushed by and none of them noticed Wang Lin. Wang Lin was very careful and would often stop as he drifted forward. He slowly made his way to the depths of the mountain range, toward the Red Mountain. The closer he got, the more strongly he felt the main earth fire vein. He was not far away from the Red Mountain as 3 rays of light flew toward the Red Mountain. There was 1 man and 2 women. They flew directly toward the Red Mountain. Wang Lin didn't bother looking at them. He had seen rays of light like those far too many times already. However, just at this moment, divine sense suddenly erupted from the Red Mountain and descended. It quickly covered most of the mountain. This divine sense was very powerful. It was not something an ordinary cultivator could have. It was someone who had gone through 9 arcane tribulants and reached the early stage of void tribulant. This divine sense contained a hint of yin, which was something that could only be detected after one had reached a certain cultivation level. The moment Wang Lin felt the divine sense, he could tell that this was a female cultivator. This divine sense spread out too suddenly. If Wang Lin hadn't been on guard, he would have been found in a naik. As the divine sense spread out, the smoke Wang Lin had turned into retreated. He moved at the same speed as the divine sense, one spreading out and one retreating. However, this divine sense spread out like a fan with the red mountain at the center. Wang Lin could avoid it for the moment, but it wouldn't be long before he was detected. As the divine sense swept by, ripples echoed across the formation of the Great Soul Sect and it was sealed. This scene shocked Wang Lin. Could I have been found? Wang Lin didn't have time to think as the divine sense was closing in on him. He retreated, but it looked like he had no place to hide. He flew toward the 3 rays of light flying in the distance. He moved at the fastest speed to charge into the body of the man. The reason was not because of the man's cultivation level, but because the divine sense was that of a woman. From Wang Lin's experience, most women at this cultivation level were mostly arrogant and looked down upon the male disciples, so they wouldn't search too carefully. After all, a detailed search was the same as looking at someone naked. The moment Wang Lin entered the man, the divine sense swept by. It didn't linger, it directly swept by into the distance. After it covered the entire mountain range, it slowly dissipated. Once the divine sense scattered, the formation no longer sealed the area and started operating as normal. It wasn't that I was discovered, it's just that the Great Soul Sect has a habit of a powerful cultivator on guard who spreads out their divine sense from time to time. Wang Lin gathered inside the man's body and formed a vortex that was surrounded by restrictions. As Wang Lin pondered, the woman next to him scolded him. What are you standing there for? If we are late in delivering the soul split fruit to senior sister, we will be punished. This video will end here.